Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything related to sports, NBA news, hot, classic debates, and where we just give you a fresh take on sports and how we see it. So welcome to the show. And in today's episode, the topic is why losing may have been the best thing that ever happened to Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers. So that's the topic I want to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. And also, if you want to check this out, it's on the Dreamerspro Podcast, which is linked in the description below. So you guys can definitely go and check it out there for you guys that like listen to podcasts. And we're thinking of launching a premium platform in the future, so you guys can definitely check that out. We have the link in the description below. Check it out and leave a vote and let us know what you guys think or comment. We really appreciate that. So let's get straight into the content here. So the NBA playoffs are going on, depending on when you're seeing this video, and it's making me think a lot of different things. Watching the Lakers go against the Denver Nuggets. This all depends on when you're seeing this, and to let you know how relevant it is. And I just can't seem to get this thought out of my mind, which is I feel like it should be the Clippers versus the Lakers instead of the Denver Nuggets, versus the Lakers. And, I feel a lot of people feel that same way. Now, not to discredit the Denver Nuggets, but, however, going into these playoffs and at least going into the season, a lot of us thought that we were going to have an LA showdown, a battle between these two LA teams. A lot of us saw that. And to be quite honest with you, watching the Denver Nuggets win that series, very few people actually picked the Denver Nuggets. Nick Wright was one of them, and a few others. And I was wrong, but the majority of us were wrong. Charles Barkley, Shannon Sharp, and so many others, Eve Skip Bayless, Stephen A. Smith, Max Kellerman. So many people thought the Clippers were going to win that series. And I feel like they gave that series away, given the fact that they were up 3-1 and just couldn't close the deal, which is something that was just no one could have predicted. And watching them lose that series was incredible. But, however, it made me begin to think about what are the takeaways from watching the Clippers lose. And for me, I think one of the first takeaways was that it gave them a wake-up call. It gave Kawhi Leonard, let me start with him. It gave Kawhi Leonard a wake-up call. Now, granted that Kawhi Leonard wasn't heralded coming out of college. He wasn't a Dwayne Wade, a LeBron James, and Anthony Davis, one of these guys, Alonzo Ball, one of these guys that had, extreme national media coverage. He wasn't these type of players. He just sort of stayed under the radar and slowly developed himself into being one of the top NBA players in the world. In my opinion, the best player in the world. So he developed his way into that. So there weren't that many expectations placed upon his shoulders to go out there and win multiple championships. He just seemed to just grow his way into this position where he's now a multiple finals, MVP winner and a multiple NBA champion, multiple defensive player of the year type of guy. And last season, watching him go through the playoff run, a lot of people made the argument that, hey, listen, Kawhi wasn't expected to win that NBA championship, and it makes a lot of sense, actually. He wasn't expected. The Toronto Raptors weren't expected. They were basically, there were a few people that picked them to win a title. I did, but, they were the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference, and given the fact that the Raptors had flamed out a few times in the playoffs, most people wanted to see it before they believe it. So I understood that. They won the championship. Kawhi Leonard had this swagger about him, and going into this season, there were some people complaining about, a few things about Kawhi. One was the fact that he wasn't playing as many games. I do have some questions about that because some of them, yes, is health related. But given the fact that in the playoffs, he played back to back to back, he played every game pretty much. One begs to ask the question, why couldn't he play more games in the regular season last season? And that was one of the things that hurt the Clippers, was that they didn't have enough. Team chemistry. They didn't have enough reps together as a team. I don't think they played more than 25 games together with their entire team, and some of that had to do with injuries, obviously. But I think Kawhi Leonard got his wake-up call that you're not just going to stroll your way to the NBA championship round, and that a lot of teams are not going to give it to you. The Denver Nuggets were not going to lay down. Secondly, I think it gave the team a wake-up call, the entire team. A lot of those guys had this swagger to themselves where they felt like we were supposed to win. We're gonna win. They were drinking the Kool-Aid. They believed their own press. They listened to the hype and they were like, yeah, they're gonna win. And we thought they were gonna win, but the only thing is you actually have to go out there and play. Yes, the odds may be, yes, you may have things stacked in your favor, but you still got to go out there and play these games and perform at a high level to get it done. People are not just gonna give it to you. And I feel like it gave the Clippers as a team, their players, a wake-up call. Dropping 3 straight games like that and basically getting smacked in the mouth in a Game 7, because I was supporting the team the entire season and I thought they were going to win. But for me, I think it was good for them. Another thing is, I think it put pressure on Doc Rivers, and deservingly so. Okay? A lot of people have lamented the fact that they don't think that Doc Rivers is the man for the job. I never used to pay too much attention to that. But however, this season, watching the way the Clippers lost that series, given the fact that they could be currently playing in the Western Conference Finals, they lost that series. The team couldn't get their act together. A lot of that blame has to be put at the doorstep of Doc Rivers, and I think it's good that he's under pressure this season, that he may potentially lose his job, because that will make him coach with that will put a fire under his feet. That will make him sit up. That will wake him up. And I think it's important for the Clippers. All of the players, the team, the coaches, everybody needs to be on alert all season long, because they need to make up for what we just witnessed, for them blowing a 3-1 lead in a series that they should have won in 5 or 6 games, but they ended up losing. So it put pressure on Doc Rivers, which I think needs to be there, to be quite honest with you. And I think next season the team will play with a little bit more urgency, because they've been embarrassed and they've been humbled. Now, granted, I didn't like the statements that Paul George made at the end of I think in his closing statements at the end of the season about, no one, we weren't expected to. Like, what are you talking about? Of course you guys were expected to win. What are you talking about? You guys walked around, like as if you already won. So I don't understand what he meant by the fact that we weren't expected to win. That's not a good thing to say. You say we messed up. A lot of people expected us to win. We expected to win, but we fell short, and that's our fault. Don't come out there saying, it wasn't championship. I don't know what Paul George was talking about, and that's the reason why a lot of people levy a lot of, criticism his way when you have statements like that. I don't think that was the right thing to say. Lou Williams, however, took more ownership of the fact that they lost that series, and there's no reason that they should have, and they'll come back much more focused last season. So that's next season, rather. So I think it's going to cause them to play with a sense of urgency, because had they won, we would never have known that the Clippers may have had some, deficiencies, at least mentally. And also, it exposed some of the weaknesses that they had on the team as far as from a defensive standpoint from bigs. What we discovered is that Montrezl Harrell, although he's a fantastic player, a great 6 man, he's just not big enough. He's just not big enough. And if you watch the Lakers against the Denver Nuggets, they have size, man. They got Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, Anthony Davis to throw in Nikola Jokic. And obviously that series is a series of matchups, because it's a matchup. It's working well for them. But the Clippers need a little bit more interior defense. Zubac cannot be your only line of defense. They picked up Joakim Noah. He didn't get any reps, so I don't know what the purpose of that was. So they have something that they need to work on. And I think the team is going to have a better attitude, going into next season, because that's the ultimate thing that needs to shift. They need a shift in attitude. They need to have the right attitude going into next season. And I think that, them losing is going to be the catalyst for that. Kawhi Leonard, I think, is going to have his wake-up call. I think he got relaxed. I think he got laxed. That's one of the things that happens when you go home. Okay, a lot of people saying, well, he went home to be with his family. That's his choice. However, know that when you do go home, you're in your comfort zone. And sometimes it's a little bit hard to perform in your comfort zone. And you saw that going home, being in the wonderful weather, in the sun and all of that stuff, it contributes to things like this happening. Sometimes a little bit of bad weather and all these different things. I mean, for people that are concerned with the weather, being a little bit uncomfortable forces you to sit up and forces you to stay alert. When you're in a situation where things are always sunny, where it's always rosy, these type of things happen. You get relaxed. You're not on your guard as much. So I think this definitely woke them up and let them know that titles are not guaranteed. You got to go out there and win that. And finally, I think it will also drive them that they knew that they let the Lakers off the hook. Because I'll tell you right now, I believe 150% that they could beat the Lakers. I just do. I believe that a good amount of people, a good amount of people believe the same thing. That's why a lot of people pick the Clippers to win the title. A lot of people feel that. Not all, but a lot of people feel that. And I feel like they felt like they should be the ones playing the Lakers, and they left them off the hook. So I think this was a great thing that actually happened to them, because now it finally woke them up. Kawhi Leonard's championship window is not closed. Like, I know there are a lot of people out there that want to say that, but it's not. So I think this is a good wake-up call for them, and I think it's one of the best things that ever happened to them. So what I want to know from you guys is, do you agree with me? Do you think that this is a wake-up call for the Clippers and Kawhi, and it woke them up and is going to make them better if they take advantage of the situation and actually try to become better from it? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. And also don't forget to check this video out on the Dreamerspro Podcast if that's what you guys like listening to the podcast. Once again, thank you guys for your attention. Wish you guys a great day. Peace.